This week's news from the tubes on F5 Live Refreshing Technology is proudly powered by Malwarebytes. Whether you use a PC, a Mac, or a mobile device, Malwarebytes Premium is the company's strongest protection ever. It fights threats that traditional antivirus software can't stop, plus it actively blocks threats like worms, rogues, dialers, trojans, spyware, and a whole lot more. It allows you to use your computer and mobile devices with confidence and peace of mind. To learn more and to get a special price, you can go to f5live.tv/malwarebytes. If you remember a couple of months ago, there was an interesting situation with a crypto exchange, FTX. Within the blink of an eye, it went from, I believe, the second or third largest crypto exchange in the world to non-existent because it ran out of money. And that's because the whole thing was a bit of a 2008 style, somewhere between a Ponzi scheme and an over-leveraged lending scheme. The organization had two companies, kind of sistery in a way that was unbelievably inappropriate. There was FTX and Alameda. Alameda was an investment firm, whereas FTX was a crypto exchange. And they were using funds in the crypto exchange at Alameda, which was completely illegal, to make investments and to prop up their own token, which ended up going to zero, which is where FTX ran out of funds. Anyway, it looked like there was no way anybody was going to avoid jail time, and that the brand was for sure, both brands were for sure dead. Billions and billions of dollars worth of assets missing. Mostly because Bankman-Fried, Sam Bankman-Fried, is that his first name? Yeah.
Yes.
Was a bit of a sociopath, and he would just occasionally misplace, just like set it down on a desk somewhere, $50 million worth of assets, and then, where'd it go? In the way that you have set down a pen, looked to your right and looked back and it's gone, that's how he was losing $50+ million bundles of assets. And that was detailed this week, where he used that exact analogy of just misplacing $50 million asset collections regularly. In fact, he said, "We sometimes find $50 million worth of assets lying around that we lost track of. Such is life." So, unbelievable. He also referred to Alameda as unauditable, because, quote, "we are only able to ballpark what its balances are, let alone something like a comprehensive transaction history." So, if there's any wonder why all of this went sideways on them, it should be clear now. Well, there are new owners over at FTX who have taken over, and they are seemingly quite literally looking in the couch cushions for these $50 million asset collections that have just been left lying around. Obviously all digitally, but you understand the analogy. And so far, they have actually found $7.3 billion worth of the missing assets. By listening to what he said, sometimes we just lose big blocks of money, and going, well, you don't just lose them. You don't misplace them. They're here somewhere. And they've gone and looked, and they've found over $7 billion worth of those assets. Which is pretty impressive, because a lot of the assumption was that Alameda had lost in its investment schemes a lot of the assets. Which is true. I believe there's still 40+ billion missing, but to have come back with 17-18% of that, nobody expected to find that much of the missing
So
assets. That's
why
pretty
did they buy
impressive.
it?
Oh, who
Why did they
knows?
buy it? Did they get it for free or cheap? Because I mean, like they're buying a whole lot of liability, aren't they? Or do they
Yeah,
not get the liability when they buy it?
it's a fair question. That I think they went into it in the same way that um, Insight bought Tiger Direct, or the crypto guy bought Radio Shack, or whoever currently owns Circuit City. They're like, you know what? I bet we can make this work again.
Eh,
Even though the house is burned to the ground, I bet we
right.
can rebuild better, faster, stronger. But in this case, we're currently at about a $43 billion man um, in what is lost. But that seems to be their reasoning, and that's because the new leadership has said, "quote the dumpster fire is out." In a court filing, which goes to show that whoever bought it is still a crypto bro, because that's not the kind of thing that you or I would say in court, but that's an actual quote. The situation has stabilized and the dumpster fire is out.
Yeah, that's great.
So, oh, but it's definitely an interesting situation. One, that somebody decided to buy the dumpster that was on fire, but also that they found $7 billion worth of assets, some in cash,
Who gets to who gets
some
it?
some in cash. Avram,
I know
what?
who gets the assets though. The new owners, the people who had deposits, like
So they're in a bankruptcy, right? So my guess is, as they're finding the assets, they're going into escrow. They would have to in the bankruptcy court.
so what good is this? I don't understand what good this is to the new owner.
I don't know. The whole thing, like, it's a continuation of crazy. The whole, from the very beginning, this has been twists and turns of nonsense. And the fact that somebody else purchased it, what could they? I mean, unless this is a company like Hilco that buys retail stores that are closing and then parts them out in order to alleviate a bankruptcy or whatever. Maybe that's what's going on here.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, me neither. It's all weird. But I'm going to make it weirder. Quote, FTX is negotiating with stakeholders about options for restarting its crypto exchange, and it may make a decision on that in the current quarter. What? Who is going to put
Yeah,
money into this again?
I don't know. I mean, it's weird that no brand ever goes away, no matter how
Hard we
tarnished.
try. Oh,
I mean, we were talking at work today about whether Stumble Upon still exists, and it went out of business, but then was replaced by something called Stumble, which is also Stumble Upon.
oh, really?
Like, yeah, that's what I was reading. I was also looking at like what defunct, supposedly defunct social networks and search engines. MySpace still is there, although
Yep.
weirdly appears to have not been updated in a year.
Okay.
Like if you
And
go, there's like
at
news
least,
stories on the homepage from 2022,
oh, at least they
and
fixed
there's
the
broken
logo.
images.
At least they did end up fixing the logo, and they put it back to having all letters.
It's weird because like MySpace, it's way out of date stuff, but it's the site is still there and it's got broken images. But like name me an
Always
old
solid.
name me an old web brand, and you'll find a website that still works in some respect. Okay, wait, Alta Vista just takes you to Yahoo. Okay, you can't have that
Yep.
anymore. But Ask.com still works. Ask Jeeves, otherwise known as Ask.com, still there.
High Five still exists.
Right? I mean, who's working on these? Who's trying it? I mean, not to say that they're Lycos is still around, still has a dog logo too.
Wow.
Remember when that was a big deal?
Yeah.
Given what's going on with Google, maybe we should be optimizing for Lycos now. Uh, although, granted, Ask.com has lots of old content on it too. One of the stories on the homepage is 10 best documentaries of 2022 so far. So, but name me an old brand and I'll find it. So nothing ever dies,
I just
no
searched
matter
on.
how tarnished.
I just did a search for PLUGHITZ on Dogpile.
And what did you find? ICQ still exists.
Really?
Yes,
That's a
ICQ still exists.
that's a surprise.
I don't think. I think it's owned by some Russian company or something. It is no longer
Ugh.
owned by the same people and
Okay.
not necessarily the same product exactly, but it is an
Okay.
ICQ instant messenger called there is an instant messenger called ICQ, and you can and it still has the little flower logo too.
Nice.
So nothing goes away. There's
I actually
yeah.
really like the search results on Dogpile for PLUGHITZ. I'm not gonna lie. The first one is the company. The second one is our YouTube channel. The third one is back to the company because apparently it's struggling with the difference between HTTP and HTTPS. The fourth one is our most watched YouTube video, how to set up a Monster Luminescence LED strip. If you have not been around that long, that was a heck of a time for the company. That was that Thanksgiving 2019, I think. Oh, then our LinkedIn profile, our Twitter profile, something called showmelocal.com, our Facebook page, and then our Twitch profile. All the things that I would expect to be on here with optimization on that YouTube video. I used to use Dogpile all the time. It's why Dogpile and High Five were the two things that popped into my head when you said it. I'm like, oh, let's go look.
Excite is still there. Still working search engine. I mean, I don't know if they have their own index,
Can I create a
but
GeoCities?
Excite. I don't know.
Probably
If you
not.
go to GeoCities, no, you get just kicked to Yahoo.
That's what I figured.
Yeah, I don't know about Tripod or Angel Fire. Tripod still exists.
What?
It's Yes, tripods. If you go to tripod.com, you get to Lycos. You go to Lycos where it has
Yeah.
a tripod function. You can make it. I'm telling you, who's signing up for this stuff? Who's using it? It's still there though.
Wow.
Nothing ever dies. No brand ever dies. So why not?
Why should you build a website with tripod? Why indeed? It's perfect for small business, huh? I don't know about that.
So if these brands that are like 30 years old or something are still around and nobody knows who they are, and people who are in Gen Z and millennials probably never even heard of them, why not FTX, which is big in the news?
Why not? Pets.com, by the way, infamous implosion goes to
Right.
PetSmart.
But I think the Puppet got licensed for something, right?
I think so. Oh, the 90s. If you guys weren't around for the internet in the 90s, it was a wild west. Just, money flowing everywhere. It makes the crypto stuff today look tame. Weird ideas would get millions in investment, and then the people would go buy cars and the company would go out of business. Nobody would be able to audit it because like Sam Bankman-Fried. What are you going to do? We misplaced $50 million. Oh my goodness. But it's a fascinating point because you and I would never go build a new website on Tripod, though I'm going to this evening.
Yes.
I've left it open. It's definitely going to happen after the show now. But
I think you should make a website about your Q cats.
oh, great idea. I mean, if you're going to do something on Tripod, it's got to be about the Q cats.
Yes.
Or my reel-to-reel players that I've got in the other room. Oh, Laserdisc. I've got a Laserdisc player and Laserdiscs.
There you go.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, so it's definitely going to be interesting to see what happens here because what? No, it is a train wreck and nobody is stopping the train. In fact, they seem to be feeding it fuel. So, who knows what is going to come next in this very strange story. Hello, YouTube. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of F5 Live Refreshing Technology. If you did, please subscribe to the channel down below, and of course hit the notification bell because we know that subscriptions don't mean much on YouTube anymore. If you've got topics that you'd like us to talk about in the future, please comment them down below. And if you'd like to not follow us on YouTube, there's lots of ways that you can follow along with our content by going to plughitslive.com/subscribe. There you'll see all of our shows and all of the ways that you can watch, listen, and follow along.